Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Ladies Listen Up with my co-host, Mr. Sherrod. How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
I am doing well. I am doing well. I am excited about today's topic, but before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with somebody else. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that red subscribe button. Hit the button. So, Mr. Sherrod, we are going
Yes,
to
ma'am.
play a wonderful hand, a winning hand of spades today.
Spades. Got you. Spades.
You know how them diehard spades players to like better count your books right, cause I cannot read your mind.
And you know how they go. You better not cut one of their books either. So-
I know, especially them card players that be counting them books and they know and they're not playing just for fun. They playing so they can talk junk.
yeah, so we got a good game of spades going on here.
All right. So our topic today is that ladies, he cannot read your mind. Oh, I'm shocked. Because a lot of
Hey,
people
but
think that your partner can read your mind.
hey, remember though in Secret Garden song, he says, I wanna read your mind. See, that's a lie. That's a song that is a lie. I don't want to read your mind. I don't want to know what you're thinking because it may be all bad. So no, I don't want to.
Do you think that some people they come together and they're together for so long, they feel like they can read each other's mind? However, I mean, they may be able to get some things right. However, you can't have the expectation that your partner can read your mind because then you have a lot of failed expectations, right?
That's true. Remember the movie? Was it Mel Gibson and what women want, what ladies want? And I
Oh,
guess he
that
could read
was
that.
so funny. That movie tickled me, especially him trying to shave his legs and be a woman. He caught it in that bathroom. I think that's how he knocked himself back out again.
Yeah, but hey, like I said, I wouldn't want the power to read anybody's mind. I no,
Yeah,
I'm
that
I'm
drove
good.
him nuts. It also Taraji P Henson.
What
She did a
men think
similar.
is yeah.
Right. Yeah, and the lady was like, "That's a gift. That's a gift to be able to know what people thinking." But I don't think so. I mean, ooh, could
Yeah,
you
I
imagine
think,
what the world would be like?
man, I mean, it's like, oh man, I know he's gonna do something bad. Should I tell now before he does it? Should I tell him I know what you thinking? What like that's too much of a responsibility. I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, and I also think that when you get down to relationships and reading the minds, I think it's a good thing to be able to communicate it with each other, to communicate the
Yeah,
what you're thinking. But you know what? That's a skill though, because a lot of people, even if you think about it, just the basics, a lot of people have such a hard time communicating. I've been very guilty of that, or even thinking that I'm communicating a certain way, but the person doesn't receive it the way that I'm communicating it. So it becomes confusion there too.
I mean, in the days and time we live in as well, because we text so much, we text everything, and then it doesn't come out quite the way we want to a lot of times because folks take it to mean something else when your intention was one thing, but their perception is another. So, like that's why I say your perception and my intention may not match.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
so the thing is that's why we got to get back to communicating. That's why we got to get back to intimacy, the whole 9 yards, because if you do those things, then I don't have to read your mind, you don't have to read my mind.
Yeah,
We kind of have a feel for one another.
I think
So
that's
that's
the
what I
difference.
think. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I think. I think that's how it is when people stay together for so long. There is a connection.
yeah.
There's definitely a connection.
Hmm.
But I think it's one that's built out of watching another person's habits.
Right.
But it does go. I think it does go deeper than that. I think I don't. I wouldn't say read your mind, so to speak, but you kind of y'all kind of
Ebbing and flowing
like
together.
yeah. That's what it is. It's one of those things where you guys are just locked into one another. I don't want to play spades with people like that because they already know. Like, hey, if I throw out this diamond, this low diamond, that mean I ain't got no books, so you got to come out,
Would you say that's too
So,
hard? That's too much work.
hey, man, I ain't, man, no, I'm straight. I leave the card playing to everybody else.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I don't mind playing it with fun. Actually, I think I have more fun playing it with the children to go fishing and all that.
Yeah.
But you not all that. But no, they get serious about their books. We were in Vegas, and my grandchildren, I bought cars to keep them company, keep them occupied, and they got mad when they was flipping over them cars, and one said, "Oh, I saw that match," and they was cheating. I was like, look, if y'all go cheat, I'm taking the cards. They all cheating, So yeah, but
Cards is one of those games where it gets serious kind of quick.
yeah, it do. It tickled me when we were younger, and our house was like everybody came over to our house, the family and stuff. They came over to play cards and all that, or what have you. And it was just so funny being a child and just listening to how serious they were about bid whist, and then turning on their partner when their partner can't play as good as they can. Yeah, but yeah, so he cannot read your mind. I think that's so important that we really get that into our minds, that people cannot read your mind. And in order to actually have a successful relationship, you have to be able to communicate with each other, and you have to be able to really articulate the expectations. And sometimes, especially as women, we have been taught that from little. Sometimes to be meek and mild, and to be quiet and humble and suppressed is what I call it, but not be able to be free. So then we get into these adult roles, and now we have to get rid of all that we learned or were taught, and then come into these expressive roles and be able to communicate with a man who, it's always been okay for him to be open and, express what he wants. So it's like, it's a challenge coming to that clear communication and understanding.
Well, to piggyback off what you said, yeah, when a lot of times when I think that's why probably so many women now rail against the traditional family values, is because y'all were supposed to be the meek, mild, and shh, don't say any, almost childlike in a way. Don't speak until spoken to, type of deal. And nowadays, some women won't be quiet. It's like, can you shut up? Shut up.
You don't.
I don't want to hear about your job or your degrees anymore. I don't.
Well, it
But
depends on the subject matter. You want us to talk about certain
oh
stuff.
yeah, I want you to talk about some things, but man, I don't care about clothes. I don't care about shoes. Get some Jimmy Choos. I'm gonna get out. Those are the things that we don't want to talk about. I don't even want to read your mind. I don't want to read your mind on that stuff. I don't.
Well, see,
Now,
this is where women need their girlfriends and their sister
they,
circles, because that's
they do.
and that's what is, I think, is so important in a relationship, that you have that out, that you don't, because sometimes people say that you should make your partner like your everything, and they mean that literally. And when you do that,
No.
you can suffocate the crap out of your partner. You have to be able to understand that male, female, we're going to have different interests. We're going to have different, things that soothe us in conversation, talking about shoes or going shopping, or certain things that it's okay to invite your partner if they want to come or attend. But some people get so mad when their partner is not interested in the same things that they're interested in, even if they've taken time out to say, okay, let me go and let me try it. Okay, yeah, I tried it. We experienced this together. I don't want to do that
Right.
anymore. And then it's okay, because a lot of people take it personal and offensive. It's not. It's okay.
And then with any relationship, you know, we talk about that flame, the relationship with the flame, the burning flame, and the flame is gone, right? The spark is gone. Well, with any flame, like you said, you use the word suffocate. If you smother a flame and stop it from having oxygen, it dies. it eventually goes out. So
Right.
in order for you to keep a relationship going, there has to be some time apart. There has to be us doing our thing individually, things of that nature. We can't just always be up under each other 24/7 all day long. That nobody's getting anything done, you know. And when we talk about reading minds and this and that and the other, a lot of times, you know, just reading some of this article, when I was reading some of the article, and it says wedding ring ESP. So so what the title, the caption actually says is wedding ring equals ESP, and then they cross equals out.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so doesn't it seem like your husband or fiance should just know that the laundry needs to be done or your sweater can only be washed but on the delicate cycle? It should be obvious that helping out with the kids' science fair exhibit is priority number one the night before it's due, right? And if you have to tell him that you really like the Russian white paint color for the shells worlds better than that putrid eggshell white option, he just doesn't even know. I mean, seriously, how can the man you love be so darn thick sometimes? Ladies, I'm here to tell you that he really doesn't know. Men cannot read minds. And not only can we not read minds, we are oftentimes very inept at picking up on subtle and not so subtle hints. Uh, Most of the time, we really do intend to please you and help you out with all of the many family duties that we share in our households, and we are happy to do so if we are made aware, very clearly aware of what is expected of us. So, what's a gal to do? Whether you have your own kids or not, you are probably aware of how direct you have to be when communicating with children. I am here to tell you that when you really want something to be done correctly and to your exact specifications, your best bet is to take that same approach with your husband. I'm not saying that you treat your husband like a child, but I'm telling you that many times your husband perceives and infers what the effect with the effect of a child. And we very rarely do a good job of reading your thoughts. So you now know that men are thick sometimes, newsflash, right? To get what you want, your best bet is to communicate your desires clearly. This can mean that you write things down with specific instructions when necessary. You can make a real honey-do list, which we actually prefer because we can check off all the great things we have accomplished as we get them done. When you tell your husband something, make sure he really hears you. If you have something important to discuss, maybe you should bring it up during your 15 minutes as a couple that day to ensure you are fully in tune with one another.
I think that's good. I think that goes back into communication with your partner, and also taking the time out. We talked about love languages and all that, but taking the time out to know your partner, because sometimes some things, are better said at certain times. If you
Yep.
catch somebody, male or female, but you catch them at a certain time, and maybe they're in the middle of focusing on something that has a deadline, or
Hmm.
maybe they're in the middle of something, even if it's, watching a game, or you watching your favorite movie or whatever, that might not be the best time to go and talk about certain things. But then you can also like make time for each other. Like even I hate to say schedules when it comes to families, but still, if you say, okay, once a month we're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about stuff, or even not once a month or whatever, but we're gonna take this time out and we're gonna talk about things, so that I make sure that I'm hitting your love language. You make sure that you're hitting my love language. And if we care enough about each other, then we're working that out as we go along. I
Yep.
think a lot of people, they get into this rut. And then sometimes the crazy thing is, if you haven't learned your person's love language, and they haven't learned yours, and they've been acceptant of however you're doing things, you have no clue that you're doing something that's irritating them, or doing something that's counterproductive, because nobody's brought it to your attention. And then all of a sudden you get down to what is the 7-year mark, and y'all don't like each other anymore because you all haven't hit each other's love language. And I think
Yeah.
it goes along with like every facet of your relationship. I think it's
Yeah.
every facet, like learning what, instead of trying to read somebody's mind, because sometimes we say, he can't read your mind. Well, you can't read his mind either.
Yeah.
And then when you think about how different men and women think about things, and how different men and women, or people, period, process things, and the different backgrounds that we come from, it's a wonder that we can't have a successful relationship if we don't do those things or put those things into place.
Remember this song? If you don't know me by now, you will
Yes.
never, never, never know me. That
Right.
don't mean we can read each other's minds. It just means we know each other's tendencies. We know each other's patterns. We know each other's thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Not read minds. We know, you just know what makes a person tick.
Mm-hmm.
And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you're learning each other's love language. Oh man, you didn't discover their love language, so now you're better in tune with them. But you know, with me, I mean, maybe some of the stuff that I read works for some men or whatever. But my thing is, you know, you don't have to do it as if, childlike. It's just tell me what it is you want. I don't want to guess. I don't want to have to guess what you're thinking, what you feeling. If you feel a certain way, if you think I've done something to you, tell me what I've done. Don't
Yes.
don't don't get mad and then all of a sudden just say now I get mad at you, then you want to bring up what I supposedly did then. It's like, no, you know, I generally if I'm upset, I'm gonna chill out for a minute, and I may not say anything, right? And sometimes it's just for me, sometimes I might get upset and may not say anything because it just is what it is. It's not a biggie to the point where I'm done with this. It just I can't believe you did that, so I'm gonna leave it alone right now, and it ain't really worth talking about right now. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm an observer. I observe people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a people watcher,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we can keep it moving though. For me, we can keep it moving. It's not a necessary thing to keep revisiting. Oh, remember back in August when I was mad at you and I didn't speak to you on Saturday? It's like it's not one of them things. Hey, once in my mind I let it go, it's gone. Okay, I'm gonna keep it moving.
Yeah, and that's a
So
good
we don't.
trait. That's good, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people hold on and they harbor it. And what they don't understand is that toxic emotion festering inside of them, when they actually decide that they want to talk about it, it comes out very like fire, because they've set on it and they've festered in it and they've simmered in it, and they mind, our minds take on a whole different picture than what that little bitty thing really was. It becomes this big monumentous issue. So I love the I don't know if it's a saying or what have you, and they say don't let the sun go down if you have an alt against somebody or whatever. So I think
Mhm.
in a relationship, I like the rule: don't go to bed mad at one another. Because I think the worst thing, not the worst thing, but one of the worst things is to be in the bed with somebody and you are so far over to the end that you holding on, gripping the side of the mattress. You're holding on, gripping the side of the mattress. You got all this negative energy in between you. I mean, you don't even have a king size bed, but you could be in a full size bed and still so much air in between you, and you try to sleep on. And you know what? And people have mastered that sleeping, because
Yeah, yeah.
when I was married, I mastered the corner of the bed, because I'm like, at this point, I don't want you to touch me, don't breathe on me, don't do nothing.
And that's something when you have to live that way, when it is that way that you
Yeah,
know I don't just the sight of you make me sick, you
yeah,
know and then it's like out of all that, not touching each other at night, not looking at each other, oh, don't speak, don't. It's like it would be so much simpler if we just say, hey, this is what the problem is. This, like I said, when I go into that funk of I may not speak or whatever. If you did something that pissed me off, I kind of like to look at me first,
Mm.
right? So, and when I look at me first, it's not that I'm gonna come explain it to you like, yeah, you pissed me off, but I looked at me first and I decided that, you know, I was, I just took it wrong. It's just, I just, I have to, maybe I still need to work on my, not a maybe, I need to work on my communication too. So, because, hey, once I start thinking about some stuff, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I did. I took it to heart. I shouldn't even have gave that any emotion or whatever. She is who she is, whatever. But either way it go, it probably should be communicated. Hey, you know, what you did, you made me feel X, Y, and Z, right? But that may not have been the intent,
Yeah.
right? So, and
Yes.
the one thing we need to stop doing is trying to argue about how a person felt when we did a certain thing. We
Yes.
can't argue that. We cannot
Yes.
argue that. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I felt such and such a way. Well, if you felt that way, no, no, they're right. They felt that way because you did something this way.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not what you intended, you should tell them. I didn't want to do that. That's not what I wanted you to feel like. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. I also love in learning communication skills because I have to accept my part in, the demise of my marriage too, because I didn't know how to communicate clearly what I felt and also I think it's hard to communicate with people when you point the finger at them. When you do this,
Oh yeah,
and versus like
yeah,
communicating, you know, like, instead of just saying, pointing a finger at them, you made me feel this way, you did this, or you did that, da, 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 whatever. Then it becomes, oh yeah, I'm gonna defend myself. But when you say, when you do this, I feel this way, then you can kind of you can commute you can work better in that because you're not accusing that person of doing something to you. You're just letting them know this is how I feel, and it may even be a sore spot for you. It may be a trigger for you, but you are letting your
right,
partner know that that's a trigger for you, and not that it's their responsibility to fix your triggers, but they're aware that when you do this, this is how I feel, and then you can work
right,
it out together. And I think that's where a beautiful relationship can be birthed, when you can feel like this is a safe place, this is my haven, and I can come and we can talk about this. And even if we don't agree, it's okay to disagree. Like, I'm not trying to make you see it from my perspective. I just want you to understand where I'm coming from and how I feel. And the same thing,
right.
you be open to doing the same thing. Then you can always say this, like, I have a best friend that I've known for over 30 some odd years. And the thing that I've said through my whole relationship with her is the fact that she tells me the truth. I mean, if I have on an outfit, and it's not, she didn't do it in a critical way that's demeaning. It's coming from a
Hmm.
place of love. So she's saying, look, girl, I don't want you to go out there, with them pink stockings on and that orange, she's saying those things.
Right,
She's
right,
always,
right,
but then you know that you can go to that person and what they're going to give you is the honest truth. And so you've formed that relationship. And I think if people took that more into their relationships, then they won't even have the concept that I want you to read my mind, because now I'm putting the responsibility on you to interpret it correctly, and you may
right.
not.
And oftentimes what we do is, it's like I mean, we don't make the situation any better. I mean, because in wanting somebody to read our minds, you know, we sort of feed the negativity of the situation too by our attitudes,
Mm-hmm.
right? We walk around, you know, and we just it's like, it's funny when you argue with someone and then you say, well, they say, well, I ain't do nothing. Yes, you did. It's your demeanor, your whole demeanor was just blah and dead. So, when you bring that up, no, that's not how that was. You know, before it get to that point, we need to actually have those conversations, you know,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
and 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 in having those conversations, we need to be able to say whatever it is we need to say right
Mm-hmm.
then and there, instead of, man, how do I say this without say it.
Right.
We
Right.
we we're all grown. Say what you have to say
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because your partner should know you well enough. If y'all spent any length of time together getting to know one another, they
Right.
should know you well enough that you are not trying to attack them or not trying to insult them or come at them any kind of way.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
but a lot of times we don't know our partner. Why? Because we did not get a chance. We didn't take the chance to get to know them. And
Exactly.
and you know what? Even when you rekindle old relationships,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like you get back with they're a different person now. They're not the same person that, they may do some of the same things, they may look the same, but they've dated other people, they've gained new experiences, and some of the things they may have liked with you, they don't like that no more, you
Mm,
know. So
that's juicy.
so
That's
you
juicy.
know, and getting back with someone that you dated in the past, you have to treat that like a new relationship. You have to start over. You have to get to know him or her all over again because you just don't jump right back in and start from where you left off. Because remember, where you left off is where y'all broke up at.
That is so good. That's a little bit of a lesson because I've had this hard rule of not going back. X is an X for a reason, and that's kind of a different spin. But because I've had people to say that that they're a different person, and trying to point out some different things, and yeah, and that's a part of me that's like just so hardcore. It's like, yeah, no, don't do that again. But you just kind of said it a little differently, and then you also said something. I mean, also what you said about being able to say what you feel in the moment. Now that is a skill. That's a skill that you
Yeah.
develop. I was in a restaurant the other day, and sometimes I get this, and I just cannot stand how women treat each other. Sometimes they just treat each
Mm.
other ugly and nasty for no reason. So I had a waitress that was just so rude to me. She was semi rude to the person that I was in there with, another colleague. She was semi kind of, because she even said, like she was rushing her through the menu. First time we had been to this restaurant, she was kind of rushing her through the menu, and she was asking her questions, and she was real short with the questions or whatever. And see, I have a real problem with bad service. So I have a real problem with it. But I was like, being cool and everything. And then when she came and when I looked at my plate, I had ordered fish, and I looked at my plate, and you know, she gave the partner that was there. She gave her a lemon, she gave her tartar sauce, the stuff that goes with fish. I got nothing, right? And I'm like, I'm like, I'm being punked. There's a camera somewhere, right? Then when we got to the end of the experience, and the lady that I was with, she was like, okay, this is a character building experience. This is just building our character. And I was like, what the hell if my character is gonna be built today? Because I gotta learn. So she came. I waited till my partner went to the restroom, and I was like, and she came back to the table, and I asked her for a bill, and she told me what my amount was, and I said, can I get a paper bill? Oh yeah, I could do that. I mean, I'm just saying, just like totally just ugly, right?
Wow.
So I started to do what my father used to do. My father, if you had got bad service, like he was a tipper, but if he got bad service, he slam a penny on the table and he give you a penny to let you know. And he'd say, "This is what your service was worth to me," and he'd give you a penny. So when the lady
Wow.
came back to the table, again, learning how to communicate. When she came back to the table, I said, your energy was horrible today. I said, I did. I couldn't help it. She said, wait. She said, wait a minute. As soon as I said it, she was like, wait a minute. The ladies at the table behind me was mocking me, and they gave me $1 tip. I said, but still, you brought that energy over to our table and to our experience.
Right.
And I said, and the reason, because she kept saying, well, no, I get, all my customers, they always say that I'm the best, waitress, and I get this or whatever. I said, well, that's not been my experience today. And I said, the reason that we're having this conversation is because I enjoyed the restaurant and the food, and I do want to return. I said, however, I'm letting you know how you made our experience today.
Wow.
Do you know she still did not accept the fact? She was like, oh, okay, and walked away.
Hey,
But that's that you can't accept when somebody is. I was giving her constructive criticism back, constructive information, letting her know. I said because, but some people again they cannot accept it.
No.
What's another?
That's the funny thing. You telling somebody that they're wrong about something.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how much you prove to them, to some of these people, you can prove to them that they're wrong all day, but it's going to come back to you, but you. But no. What I'm trying to tell you is what you did to cause me to feel the way that I feel, or what you did that I took offense, offense with,
Yeah.
and we've become a society that is so hypersensitive about everything. In order for us to sit down and have one of those adult conversations, we have to throw away everything that we've learned in this new society and go back to having kind of thicker skin back in the day when you sit down and you tell somebody how you feel, and y'all resolve it.
Oh yeah.
One way or the other, y'all resolve it. We're not. I don't even in this day and age. I think our ability to resolve issues without fights and fussing and stuff, I think we don't have it. I don't think it's in us as a society to do that. We have a warlike mind. We have a
Yeah.
conquer all type mentality. So for a person to have the audacity to think that you should be able to read their mind, and I believe we got this because uh, reading something what Jada Pinkett Smith said about in her early days, she thought that Will should have been able to read her mind because y'all we together. You
Right.
should know what I want sexually. You should know these things. And for us being men, it's like, okay, we draw off of all of our experiences with different women.
Right.
And it's like we try those little things, and hopefully we get something right.
Right.
But instead of us sitting down and talking about what makes us tick, we make it a guessing game.
Oh wait.
Well, if I want to if if I like who you are and I want us to go to different levels and ultimately to the top, I think and I want to be treated a certain way, I'm going to tell you how I want to be treated. We're gonna have some communications. We're gonna have some conversations where we're gonna sit and we're gonna be explicit on some stuff. We're gonna talk about things because I don't want you to guess. You know, because
Right. Right.
and don't get me wrong. Now, the exploration of one another is in it of itself a great adventure. You
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah. Absolutely.
but but in that adventure, if it doesn't come out like we wanted to, at least we should be able to say, you know what, okay, we tried such, but I didn't like this, without him taking offense to it, because just because she didn't like it don't mean you wasn't good at what, you're not good at what you do. It just don't work for her.
Yes, that is so important. That is so important for our men to hear, even the men that are watching, or for women to be able to softly give that to their men. Because sometimes I think that it's the delivery as well.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not just it's not
yeah.
just what you're saying. Is that time of delivery. And I've heard women, and this is older women that's been in their relationships or with their men for a while. They say, you learn as a wife to pick your times for certain conversations,
Hmm.
and you pick your to me it's also the delivery, because somebody can bring something to you in a harsh manner and you defer again, or a combative manner, and before you can even hear what
Yeah.
they're saying, you already put your defenses up. So I guess it's that old saying that you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar is so true. And then going back to the male part of it, oftentimes, and what you said was so true about bringing your different experiences, because women do the same thing, bring their different experiences. But what I think we fail to
Right.
understand is that every relationship, every encounter is its own unique experience.
Yep.
So you can bring all your experience, you can bring whatever to the table, but you have to learn how to be in tune with your person in that moment. Because when you do that, you unlock all types of possibilities of a higher and a more in-depth intimacy with that person than you do if you are just so canned. I think it was that Tyler Perry movie where the guy, the woman, the husband was so traditional and just so he wasn't willing to explore. And I guess they were each other's first, and she wanted to explore. And she did the right thing. She came to him and she wanted to explore. He shut her down, period. No, we're not doing it in the living room, in the kitchen, on the counter, in the moment. We are waiting till after dinner is done, and we're gonna wash the dishes, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna do what is it? Whatever. What is it? Stationary. What is the just you on the woman on the top? I mean, the man on the top, the woman on the bottom. I forget what the name of it is. Yeah, we just gonna do stationary, right? What is it? Say it again.
Missionary.
That's yeah. So we're just that's what we're gonna do. And he was like, period. And I'm the man, I'm the husband. This is how we're gonna do this. And that was it. And so how the story goes, of course, she got with somebody that was all, caring and spontaneous or whatever, and she ended up cheating.
You know why? Because he licked his lips and squinted his eyes like he couldn't see. That's what he did.
Okay, if that's the turn on, I don't know. No, but I'm just saying that a lot of times our partners come to us and try to communicate with us. Now go back, rewind, all the way to the interrogation part, the getting to know each other part, because all of those things are telltale signs. And if you think that you're going to get into a relationship and change somebody, change their core, who they really are, you set yourself up for a failure. And so,
and that's why we should get somebody that we like. Don't get potential. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's like physically they look like what we want them to look like, but just down in here, they are not who we want them to be. So we spend all that time and all of our energy saying, we're trying to change a person, but then when a relationship is over with, they were this, they were that. They were themselves. You wasted your time. They didn't waste your time. You wasted your time on someone you knew was not the person for you. You tried to get them to be that person.
Yeah.
And what if he does change and becomes that way? What if she changes and become the way you want her to be? Do you lose it's a possibility you can lose respect for somebody because, oh man, that's all I got to do is just say such and such. Is that easy?
Yes.
You would, yeah, correct. I can't do a yes person because if I'm on this journey to keep learning and learning and learning, I can't learn from somebody that's not willing to speak up and say something. If I'm wrong at something, hey, say I'm wrong, but like you said, it's in your delivery and it's at the time, if I make a mistake in front of somebody, I mean, I don't mind being corrected. It's not, I'm not ego driven to that point, but don't say, you wrong. And it's just like, come on now. Okay. It's a time and place for everything. But, if we're in a public debate and we're debating amongst each other, I don't mind if my lady doesn't agree with me on some things because I'm not going to agree with everything she says with this and that and the other. But we should be respectful to one another while we're disagreeing.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think also making it a safe place, because it's like sometimes in relationships, the partner doesn't make it a safe place. And so the person holds back. And before you know it, you're pulling back yourself. And then you look up and you're no longer who you are. And it can happen gradually as you continue to say, okay, I've had a couple that were, associates of mine. And the male was such a narcissist that the woman had shrunk so much that even in interaction with other people and with us, she would say, just let him have his way. Just let him have his way. I mean, if it's as simple as cutting, like we did this event and we had to cut cake, and he was he wanted it cut a certain way. And it didn't make sense because we were trying to stretch it out. And her thing was, let him have his way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let him have his way.
But I mean, that sounds almost abusive.
It is abusive, but in a narcissistic relationship, it is abusive because it's all about that person. It is totally about that person. You shrink. I mean, like I said before, and I haven't, been quiet about it. I've been in a relationship with a narcissist before, and that's exactly what it is. Because if you don't shrink, if you don't shrivel, if you don't, become less of yourself, then it's always a fight. And that's why I'm so hard on the part of interrogation, being yourself around that person, even if you're not in a relationship with them, being around that person, developing a friendship. Then you know how each other flows, and then you can make that decision before you get in a relationship. Because it's harder to get out of a bad relationship than it is to avoid getting in one in the first place. And I think that's the point that we miss. We miss that getting to know each other phase and really seeing how that person is in all seasons. How that person act when they stump their toe? Do they act like a raging maniac when they stump their toe, or somebody cuts them off in traffic? We talked about a trip together, because you learn a whole lot about somebody on a road trip. 8 hours together, or even if you're just going out somewhere together, you learn, because you'll see how I'll interject this. I was at a restaurant with someone, and he treated that waitress so bad. I apologized for it, and I never saw him again. And he called me back. I was like, no, because that didn't impress me, because you treated her so bad. And so I and a lot of people would just not accept your call again. I'll tell you what the issue is. I'm not trying to correct it, because I've already made my mind up that that's the end of it, because that's really who you are. If you're treating her that way, I'm sitting right here, and you made her so nervous, she kept messing up.
I mean, we're grown, so why am I going to spend time trying to correct your behaviors? When, like you say, I can just avoid you and your behaviors by getting to know you. No, I'm good.
Yes.
And that don't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're not the right person for me.
Absolutely.
At this point in my life. I remember growing up and being younger. Growing up when I was younger, you take certain things just to get something.
Okay.
If she got a smart mouth, you put up with the smart mouth. Long as I'm trying to hit. That was the game,
Right.
But then after you hit, it's like, whatever.
Salty.
You like, I ain't talking to her no more. I ain't got what I can get now. And I'm quite sure that some of those girls were scarred from those experiences, But if women pay attention now, they do the very same things to some of the men they choose, right? They'll get what we term beta males, okay? They'll get these guys, that won't necessarily stand up for themselves against her.
Mm-hmm.
He'll let her run him over, and she'll go in on him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know this, you don't know that, and it's like, no, he doesn't know all these things, because for one, you're either giving him so many orders to remember, or you're vague in your communication. And some women, I got away from you all on that one. Some women, try to bring their education into the relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their education in their career means that they're right about everything. And it's like,
That's all.
That doesn't, and at the end of the day, it's what we have to do to get to know one another to make this thing work. How do we communicate with one another respectfully, but still get our point across? If there's a dispute, that's when you find out what your relationship is anyway. When there's a dispute, and if we're up here calling each other names and trying to belittle the other one and this and that and the other, but all we're doing is insulting and not actually trying to come up with the resolution for the issue, then it's like, man, Man, we got to sit back and think. Every time we argue, this is what we do. We never resolve anything. We keep bringing up the same thing over and over again. Why are we here?
Absolutely.
Why are
Absolutely.
we together?
And the growth is figuring out the solution that's amicable for both parties, then moving forward. And
The
therefore,
compromise.
exactly. And then you get to that. It's like, okay, why do I have to go back to the toxic issue or whatever the issue was? Why do I have to go back to that? It's already been resolved. Now we move forward. Because every day brings us a new blank canvas to put the colors and put whatever we want on it. And when you learn that, and you learn that peace is, like we talked about it before, that peace is just one of the most valuable, things that we
Man.
can have, then, I think, I don't know. I just kind of think that it should be like, and I know this is a perfect world, there should be like a category for everybody. And it's like, okay, these are the things you like is written down. These are the things you like. These are, okay, now you can't go over here because you don't like peace. Leave her alone or leave him alone. They're in the peace pot. Over here, y'all like to fight. Y'all like to fuss. Y'all like conflict. Conflict each other. Be on the island together. Beat each other up if you want to. But don't be convoluted with over here. Oh, I like, we talked about it earlier. I like a variety of women. I like a variety of men. Okay, go on in the variety pool. Oh, I'm trying to build something. Come on over to the building pot. Let's work this out. So, I mean, I know that's in a perfect world. It doesn't happen. So we have the interrogation that I always talk about, and the five C's that we talk about. You have those things to help you. But I think it's when we walk around, I call it sleepwalking through life. And I was guilty of it, my younger years as well.
I mean, we all was. We all was guilty of that. We're totally with somebody that we know is not good for us.
Not good at all. Not good at all.
They might be good at that one thing. and we hinge our whole relationship off that one thing when 99 other things are wrong.
So that one thing is gooder than a mug, and them 99
is gooder than a mug. We sitting there like, man, I don't know, man. I just like the way she do what she do, man. But dog, she disrespects you. It don't matter.
Right.
And that's what's wrong. That's what a lot of men see about Jada Pinkett. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, what you and Will go through behind closed doors should remain behind closed doors.
Right.
And the funniest thing is I was sent a meme that says, dear wife, I'm not Will Smith. I'm more like OJ, right?
Oh my
Lord.
It's a spirit meme right there.
Wow. And what I'm saying is Jada Pinkett, it seems, because every time, you see something, it's like she's opening her mouth and she says, I think Future now is trying to get at her too, because, in Future's mind, he feel like, Will ain't hitting it right? So Jada made a comment saying, Will and I have never had a problem in the bedroom.
Okay.
I had to step back and say, okay, now if y'all never had a problem in the bedroom, why were you sleeping with that young man?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Why did you take your son's friend, sleep with him when he was going through issues? If you and Will didn't have all these, you never had a problem in the bedroom, why are you out here? Seem like you're blasting this man at every chance you can get, and it's Will's fault too. Okay, hey, he's here for it, right? Hey, whatever.
Wow.
But she did make that statement though, that hey, when she was younger, she thought he should be able to read her mind and know everything sexually that she wants. But it's like, I don't want a woman that has to broadcast our business.
Right.
I don't mind you getting on there and talking about sex and this and that and the other, and your take on it. But damn, why do I gotta be the one you talk about? Why you gotta tell our business?
Tell my general. You sound like the little girl in China in Daddy's Little Girls. Like, you always out here. Why you gotta tell my business?
Like,
she beat it. Her sister told. And she's like, "Why you tell my business?" No, I get that, and I think a lot of times we don't understand. In order to have that that deep trust in your relationship, you have to be able to have a place of trust with one another. And so I think just for me, when you destroy the trust, then there's
Oh yeah.
It's nothing to go back to. It's nothing to, I mean, it's not, at that point, it's done. Because other than that, you're just walking through the motions with one eye open, one eye closed. And you're not, you're like, it's just not, I just think that a relationship can be so fulfilling when you do have trust. And then you start bringing in all the other components, to that
Trust is
relationship.
fragile though. That's a fragile thing. That's something. It takes it takes so much to build it up,
Yeah.
but it doesn't take nothing to destroy it. It's like having china, fine china, right?
Oh, yeah. It's
It
beautiful.
was it was a it's an arduous task putting together that fine china set.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But all you gotta do is come through the living room dribbling your ball one day and miss, and like, no. And now you watching the ball just smash all this china.
Ooh, that was, oh, you just scared me.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's like, it's that, ooh, but it's not fragile. But you know what though? That china is just so like, it's so valuable. And just like trust is so valuable. But then
trust
that's
is
the thing
valuable.
too. You take care of it, because you wouldn't just, I mean, yeah, you have your china in a china cabinet, or you have it, you protect it. So that's the same thing. I think it trust in a relationship. You protect it, And I think we said before, we're like, okay, we said a thing. We say men or women cheat because they want to. But that's the point I didn't get a chance to bring up that last time, was that it is yeah, you can do whatever you want to do because you're grown and you're adult. It's your body. Right. But if you value that piece of china, like you value that trust, then that should be your compass to help you stay on the lines, or if it's a balance. I think that's one of the things as you start building. That's one of the things. It's like when they used to play, what is it, Jenga, and you pull one piece out, and you had to be careful which piece you pulled out. You had to be careful where you put that. And it's not because you're walking on eggshells. It's because you value, not pulling that wrong piece out that's going to tear apart everything that you've built together. I think that's what it means when you start building on a foundation of trust, and you build on a foundation of love. You build on a foundation of integrity. You build on a foundation of, this person's heart is important to me or valuable to me. My heart is valuable to me because I know what it's going to feel like if they're gone. So I don't want to do anything that's going to cause them to not be happy to want to go. So I think that's what you start building, together. And that's what it takes for two healthy adults to come together. And when you put your trust in somebody's hand and you let that wall down, I think that's what the other person needs to really understand, how valuable that place is.
Now, see, what you said was two healthy adults.
Exactly.
Two healthy adults coming together.
Yeah.
And so often we think time doesn't heal all wounds. It doesn't.
No.
You have to make an effort to heal your wounds.
Takes work.
Even when you get a cut, you have to dress it. You have to, Neosporin or whatever natural remedies that you still have to do something to it to start the process of healing.
Absolutely. Yes, that's so important.
And so many of us don't start that process. We think that we go with that I don't care mentality. And when we take that when we use the I don't care attitude and mentality as a way to heal ourselves, guess what? That's like, okay, this bed of flowers over here, I'm gonna take this semen, I'm gonna put it over the bed of flowers. So now it's not gonna ever grow anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Flowers are dead. No flowers will grow from up under the cement. And now we're gonna build something else on top of this cement. And now we're just hard. That's all we when we started out as this beautiful garden, lovely, getting watered in the whole 9 yards, and then one day a storm came by and messed up our garden. Now all of a sudden, oh no, hey man, put cement around it now. It's like, why? You're destroying what it looks like. Oh, don't worry about it. We're protecting it. That's what we do with our love. Our love is supposed to be flower. It's supposed to grow. It's supposed to go through the storms. It's supposed to go through a lot of stuff because that's how you develop it, right? But then now we become hard, black-hearted or hard of heart, and now we take that into another relationship, this person may be exactly what you wanted, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to know that because I'm in protection mode. No,
Yes. Oh, that's so
no,
good.
no. I'm not. I don't want to make myself vulnerable. That's
Yeah.
strength.
Yeah.
That's so much strength when you can say, okay, I could be vulnerable to you. I'm going to give you my love. I'm going to give you access to my love. I'm going to give you these things.
Yeah.
Now I do know now that I gave this to you. If you're not a good steward of it,
Yeah.
I will take access back.
Oh, that's so good.
And
Oh,
see,
that's so good. That's so good.
and
That's
so
intentional. Yeah. Yeah.
instead of running from it, instead of
Yeah.
running from love,
Yeah.
man, love is the one thing that you can give out and never lose.
Mm-hmm.
The more love you give somebody, the more love you're gonna receive back. It may not be back from the person that you want
Mm-hmm.
to give you love, but guess what? You're putting out positive energy. When you're putting out positive energy, man, you might be putting it out this way, but you might be receiving it from back there now. That
Mm-hmm.
push. You know what I'm saying? So you're
Yeah.
getting a push ahead from somebody, but hey, that's a good person right there. You know, that's the thing. When you're out here doing good, you're loving and this and that and the other, but the person that you're trying to give it to is not giving it to you back. Trust and believe there's somebody that recognizes who you are and they're giving it to you. So they're
Yes.
boosting you up. Like, oh man, you know, hey, Dr. Liz, man, that's that. You don't know it. You
Right.
don't know what they're doing, but it's happening.
Yes.
That's what we got to realize. Love is love. Love is in abundance. It's
Yeah.
like it's energy. It can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred. It can be transformed into something else, but it can't be destroyed. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
always be here. And running from it and demonizing and vilifying it, what does that say about you?
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
that's so.
love is our world exists because people still do love each other. That's
Mm.
the only reason with with all these people that we call the elites that are in charge of guns and bombs and this and that and the other. The only reason this planet is still a planet is because people love people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we.
So,
That's so good. That is so phenomenal. I mean, yeah, that's phenomenal. I couldn't even pick my pen up on that. I'm gonna have to subscribe and watch. Oh my goodness! Wow, 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 wow! I almost feel bad asking you how would you wrap this one up today because this is good,
um,
good.
when it when it comes to having a person read your mind, forget about it. You know, instead of having them read your mind, speak your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that they'll know, hey, I did something wrong. Sometimes people don't even know they did anything wrong,
Sometimes they don't even know.
you
Wow.
know. And I've been guilty of it. We've all been guilty of just having an attitude or just saying, you know what, I just don't even feel like it today. So I'm gonna keep quiet. Hey,
Yeah.
what's wrong? Nothing. And
Mm.
then depending on how that person react, it could either get worse or it could be one of them things that fizzle out over time, or it can get worse right now. So we gotta, instead of reading folks' minds, we need to speak our mind. So, you know,
That is so
that's what
good. I love the way you wrap that up. You get it. People can't read your mind though. You just got to speak your mind, and that's wonderful.
yeah,
And I just want to add to it, just to reiterate, is speaking your mind, but speaking your mind uh, tactfully, and speaking your
yeah,
mind with some
being
intentional
respectful.
thought behind it, being
Yeah.
respectful. So, wow, sir, this was an amazing, fantastic episode. I hope you all got out of it what I got out of it. I got a book of notes over here. Don't forget
That's
to
cool.
like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with somebody
All
else.
of that.
Yes, y'all. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, stay fearless. Bye for now.